right. Today's Daf Pei Daled, Chullin Pei Daled. We're holding in middle of a sentence. We're trying not to be over on any isurim of going into the next day's Daf. So just do a quick review. We're talking about Kisui Adam. And the Mishnah says Kisui Adam does not apply to Kachim. So we're saying, what is Kachim? Kachim we thought means Karbanos. What kind of Karbanos? Birds. On the Mizbeach, their blood on the Mizbeach, says the Gemara. What are we going to do with the blood? You can't do Kisui Adam on the Mizbeach because it's impossible to do a sandwich. It's impossible to put dirt on the Mizbeach. Either it's Chatzitza or you're increasing the size of the Mizbeach. Therefore, it can't be Kachim of the Mizbeach. Says the Gemara, wait a minute, I have a great idea. Why don't you sprinkle it on the Mizbeach and then scrape it off? Scrape it off, take the scraped parts, put it on top of dirt, and then put dirt on top of it, and now you have a sandwich. Oops. So the Gemara says you're right. And the last words that we learned yesterday, as everybody was rushing to get out, were, you're right, it's not the Kachim that we're talking about, the Karbanos, we're talking about Kachim Bedek HaBayis. Meaning, there's two types of Kachim in the Beis HaMikdash, the Kedushas HaGuf and Kedushas Damim. If the animal, hold on a second, if the animal is Kodesh itself, the carbon has Kedusha, and you throw that blood on the Mizbech, we have a way out of it. You could scrape it and do Kisui Adam. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about where somebody donated an animal to the Beis HaMikdash, do whatever you want, like money, comes along somebody and shechts this animal. That animal, you shechted it improperly. Since you shechted it improperly, you cannot do Kisui Adam. That's what, you weren't allowed to shecht it. It's not for you to shecht.
So who is it going?
You have to sell it. You have to do whatever you need to do with it. You shechted it for your own sake. You stole Kachim Bedek HaBayis, and you weren't allowed to, and therefore, since you did something improper, you cannot do Kisui Adam.
When you do the process of Kisui Adam, that's done when?
After you shecht it.
Immediately after, while it's bleeding out.
No, you wait until all the blood is. You have to cover all the blood. Not necessarily drain, but all the blood that's available, you have to cover.
That's Kisui Adam.
Yeah.
And that's so the sandwich that we're talking about is when it's draining out of the.
When all the blood that comes out, instead of it going directly onto the floor, you should make sure there's some sort of layer of dirt, soft dirt. Then once all the blood comes out, and you're done, then you put another layer on top.
How did they do Zrika?
They had to catch some blood in the clay.
They did Zrika from
Yeah.
that. And the rest went into the sandwich.
No, we're just saying no.
We're saying that the stuff that you did Zrika, you're talking about a bird here. The only animal that's important is a bird, because cows and goats and sheep that you bring as korbanos do not require Kisui Adam. The only other one is a bird. The bird, he stood there and did malika. The little blood that came out of his neck, the poor little bird, went onto the mizbech. That would have to be scraped off.
Okay.
Scraped off and do kisui. Anything that's on the knife, we said, has to be scraped off. Kisui Adam. Similar lahavdil, Rahman al-Islam, when there's a terrorist attack and they go and they take every single piece of blood off the floor and they make sure they scrape everything off the ground and they bury it. So every single piece of blood has to be covered with dirt.
Are we shechting a bird too?
What?
Are we doing chickens or birds? Are we doing birds?
When? Today? We do Kisui Adam on chicken, sure.
No. When you come to the house, are we gonna?
Oh, no. If we do it ever.
No, because it's not behavior. There's only.
No, he's asking if in the demonstration are we going to do a bird. I don't think we have time for it, personally. We could barely do an animal. It takes hours.
It takes hours.
Yes, it's about a 3-hour thing if he wants to go from A to Z and show us every single. Here's the Gedanasha. We just learned about Gedanasha. What's a Gedanasha? Here's a hoof. Here's a arkuva. Here's lamalam and arkuva. Here's a jaw. There's a million things that he could show us. Here's the kruma mayach. Here's there's a. What do you want to see? What don't you want to see?
We have to do it during the daytime.
And then here's the biggest asakin. Just the knife alone could take 20 minutes if he wants to do that. Anyway, now we're holding today's daf. Ask the Gemara, what's the problem? If we're talking about Kedushas Bedek HaBayis and he did something improper, he shechted this animal and you said you can't do Kisui Adam, why not? V'lefrikinu v'lechasinu tapa peidal omdal. Let him be paid. Says the Gemara, b'inin hamoda v'harocha. We hold like the Mandama that says you need to stand up this animal and assess its value. Now, even in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, the animals, after they were dead, they couldn't stand up. So Memela, we had a little bit of a problem. You need hamada, you have to literally stand up the animal, and it can't stand. Says the Gemara, Ukiman, wait a minute. You're telling me two things here at the same time. You're telling me you need hamada v'aracha, and therefore you can't do pidyon. If you could do pidyon, so you could do kosher bedek habayis. Even if the guy did it improperly, you could do the pidyon afterwards. And according to Tosfos, you don't even need it. It's since you could be paida, so it's as if you were paida. So, but that's only, and we're talking about that if he shechted bedek habayis, you ruined it. It's a shchita that's not roy, and you can't do kisei dam. But so there's two things here. There's shchita of bedek habayis that you made it not roy, and you need hamad v'aracha. Those two things don't go together. It's one or the other. Says the Gemara, Ikir Meir de Omar HaKoloyu B'chlal hamad v'aracha. According to Ramey, you have to do hamad v'aracha, and if you don't do hamad v'aracha, you can't be poided. Hamar shchita she'enu ruya shma shchita. So he says that a shchita that's not roi is considered a shchita. In other words, I could do kisei adam. This man, thank you, this man that says that you needed to stand up will also say that it's not a problem, I can do kisei adam. So it's a memarav shach. And if you hold, like the Gemara started off, that since he shechted kosher bedek habayis without permission, he ruined it, and he can't do kisui. What's the problem? He says you don't have to stand up the animal. You can just do pidyon. Yeah? No, you're shaking your head as if it's not that complicated. The Gemara said two things. You need two things going on here. You need to shech the animal, and you ruined it. You can't do kisei dam. And why can't you do kisei dam? Just go and redeem it. Oh, I can't redeem it because it can't stand up. But I don't need it to stand up. Elamai, I do need it to stand up. Then it's not a problem that I shechted it improperly. There's no manda omer that holds the two things. Says the Gemara, there is a manda omer that holds two things. And he grabs both shitas. First of all, he says b'shchita she'ein ruya savalak Reb Shimon. He holds shchita she'ein ruya lo yishmo shchita. So if he shechted something from bedek habayis without permission, he ruined it, and you can't do kisui. Now you're going to say, but you should do p'diyah. He holds you can't do p'diyah until it stands up, and since it's dead, it can't stand up. Again, why can't you do kisei adam on kachim? Says the Gemara, it goes according to Reb Shimon. That says that if you shech something improperly, it's no good. It's not a good shchita. You can't do kisei on it. In this pasuk of kisei adam, here it says chaya oif. It has to be. Then it says v'shofach es domoy v'chiso ba'afar. Right? You guys can see back there? It's a lot of words. When it's a lot of words, it's hard. Akopanim, it says the word v'shofach v'chiso. It doesn't mention anything about redeeming. It says, as soon after, like you said, as soon after the blood comes out, boom, you have to do kisei adam. So if you have to do kisei adam, maybe if you have to do kisei adam, then you can't do redeeming. Okay, the Gemara says you cannot do b'diyah. So if you can't do b'diyah, so now I'm going to ask the question: why can't I do kisei adam and kachim? Well, if it's a proper carbon, you could do kisui. I could scrape it off. It says it doesn't. It's not chal on kachim. The Mishnah says okay. In what case? What's the case? If it's a carbon on the mizbeach, I'm a chuyiv to. I have to scrape it off and do it. And if it's kachim bedek habayis and I shechted it improperly, so yes, I have a way out of it. I could redeem it. But if I redeem it, then I made a hefsek, so to speak, because the Torah says shecht it and cover it, not shecht it, redeem it and cover it. Fine. Says the Gemara v'hashadas is la'achi. Once I'm saying this teretz of a hefsek, so to speak, afilu teimei kachim mizbeach. Then I could go back to what we said yesterday. We're talking about a bird on the mizbeach. So you asked me that you should be able to scrape it off. No, you can't scrape it off because scraping is a hefsek. The Torah says you should do the kisui immediately after the blood comes out, and not after you scrape it. That might explain why Mistam in the Beis Hamikdash they didn't sit there with scrapers taking off blood from the mizbeach and then covering it.
It's not a malacha. Scraping is not a malacha, so why should it be a hefsek?
Who says a hefsek is a malacha? When you wash your hands for a mitzi and you wait for 5 minutes, that's not a hefsek. You didn't do a malacha. He comes with the fourth pshat. Why is there no kisei adam in the kachim? Because it says in the Torah, chaya oy oif. They go together. It's a hekesh. Here, purple. Chaya oy oif. Ma chaya eino kodesh. Just like a chaya never has gedusha, af oif eino kodesh. So therefore, birds don't have kodesh. And birds, the only thing in the Beis Hamikdash is a bird. So if a bird doesn't have kedusha like a chaya, if you're comparing it to a chaya that has no kisui, so two birds have no kisui. Imay chaya she'ein b'mina kodesh, afoif she'ein b'mina kodesh. So if you're going to compare it completely to a chaya, so say that just like a chaya doesn't have in it no species of a chaya has any kedusha, so any bird within its min never has kedusha. In other words, it never has kisui. Oitzi toynu b'nei yoyna sheyesh b'minun kodesh. So if you shechted a bird, a pigeon, outside of the Beis Hamikdash for Chullin, maybe you shouldn't have to do kisui adam, because once I removed the pigeon inside the Beis Hamikdash because of a chaya, so compare it to a chaya completely and say this species is a goner, it never needs kisui adam. Says the Gemara loy, ki chaya ma chaya lo chilakto bo afoif lo tachlik boy. So by a chaya we never made any differences. There's no one type of chaya yes, one type of chaya no. So too by birds, there's no such thing as one type of bird yes, one type of bird no. But there is one thing that you have to do. You have to make sure that it's chulin. If it's not chulin, then it's a problem.
Of course, there's two types of birds.
What?
Of course, there are two types of birds.
No, there's no difference in the species. All species of chayas are chayav in kisadam. All species of birds are chayav in kisadam, even pigeons. You can't say that there is one type of bird called a pigeon that doesn't have a kisadam. But I will tell you that they all have to be chulin. They can't be kachim.
Just as easy to compare the birds to the behavior. Let's say.
No, but there's a hekesh. Chaya oy oiv, they go together. So this makes it a hekesh. I compare a oiv to a chaya.
So birds that are brought as a korban do not need kisei adam.
That's right. That's exactly what the Mishnah says. Kachim don't get kisei adam, and it's talking about birds. Omer Rav Yaakov Mina al Rava. It's a question who this Yaakov Mina was. Tosfos is goyer somewhere else, Yaakov something else, Matzah, because if he's a min, he was a huge Talmud Chacham. It seems like he was a heretic. He said he was from the Lashon. It seems like he wasn't such a great guy, but you could say that he was a great guy, and it was just a mistake in the tfus. But according to what we have over here, he was a min. So he asked Rava, "Kaimelon chaya bechlal behemel simonim." We know, like we had the whole sugya, that there's no difference between a chaya and behemah. When the Torah says chaya, it means behemah means chaya. So we know that a chaya and behemah, they have the same simanim. We learn one from the other. Ema nami behemah b'chlal chaya lekisui. So say, right, because the simanim were said by a chaya, and we said that a behemah also gets simanim because of a chaya. So say that just like a chaya has kisui adam, so behemah also has kisui adam. Omer lei olecho makro ala oretz tishpachenu kamoyim. Ma mayim loy boy kisui. The pasuk over there is talking about behemoths, and the pasuk says that you should eat it. It actually mentions it's sviva ayol, and then there's al oretz tishpachenu kamoyim. But be careful, eat the whole thing, but don't drink its blood. It should be spilled on the floor like water. So if it's like water, ma mayim loy boy kisui, avaynam loy boy kisui. El ma'ato, so he's a big Talmud Chacham. He says, okay, so you're telling me that's water? So put it in the mikvah. El ma'ato yedbilu boy. So how come we don't use it as water for the mikvah? Omakro, ach mayon ubor mikveh mayim yiyatar. There's two miyutim in the pasuk. It says it should be mayon and it should be bar, and therefore hani in midachrina loy. You can't use blood. So he continues. He's not letting up. Maybe it's coming to exclude other mashkim. There's two. Sorry, here's the two. Mayin mayim ubar mayim. So one of them comes to be mimayit mashkim, shar mashkim, and one of them comes to be mimayit blood. So it's interesting to notice how Rava pulls out one answer at a time. First he says there's one miyut. Then he continues with this big kasha. He says, no, there's two miyutim. And now he comes up with the third question. He says, oh, you know what? There's three miyutim. It seems like he was playing with him. Like he wanted to see if he knows his stuff, and he didn't want to pull out all his cards in one shot, because who knows what the guy will come up with next. So one at a time. Let's see if you really know how to learn. For every question that you have, there's a little bit of an answer here.
Maybe it wasn't the min. Maybe it was the Gemara is asking the question.
The Gemara, not Rava. Okay, that's what it says by you. That's the Gemara. That's not Rava himself.
The Gemara is asking. The Gemara is answering.
Interesting.
The Heilige Art Scroll says, Rava rebuts.
Oh, our scroll says that's Rava.
Yaakov does not yield.
Saying when they discuss who this Yaakov Mina is, they say that he was able to go back and forth with Rava. Says the Gemara, so ask the Gemara, maybe it comes to Mimayit Zoichalim. Zoichalim is if you take water with your hand and add it to the mikvah, it's no good. But if you let the water, the shuvim, go down on a path in the ground, then it's okay. But if you do with mashkim, it's not good. So there's a difference between zoichalim, letting it go down on the. I had a mikvah in my house when I was a kid. My father built a mikvah, and we had this thing. I remember like a zoichalim, like the water would come off the roof, and actually travel on the ground. There was a like a little how do you say?
Half pipe.
It was less than a half pipe. But there's like a little. It was open, and the water would like. It's called a zoichel. It would just go down, and then go into the mikvah. A channel, right? Some sort of. No, it was in the ground, right next to the mikvah. It was made out of cement, so it was like the ground. But there's a concept called zoichel, and you let it, even if it's shuvim, if you worry that the water is drawn, not straight, not rainwater, there's a way to get it kosher by koshering it, by letting it run across the ground and in a channel and then going into the mikvah. That wouldn't work. So you need a few, 2 amas, whatever. So that doesn't work with mashkin. If it's already gathered, says the Gemara, so he was asking, you need the two miyutim for these two things. So Rava says, mayon mayim, ubar mayim, mikveh mayim. Mayim comes that to tell us for zoichalim. Mayon is like a zoichel, it like moves. Ubar mayim is a bar. It's muchunasim. Mikveh mayim comes to tell us the blood. So that's then the story with Yaakov Mina, or Yaakov, whatever his name is.
Blood can't be used?
What?
It can't be used?
You can't use blood for mikvah. You can't use blood for mikvah, you can't use mashkin for mikvah, you can't use zoichel mashkin for mikvah. Tana Rabbanan. Asher Yotzud. It says in this pasuk, V'ish, there's a lot of words beforehand. I literally erased, unfortunately, like 6 words or something. It says ish, yoga ger b'soichai, asher yotzod tzeid. Right, now you understand why it doesn't fit here, because then the words would be this small. The kitzer asher yotzod. He goes out and he hunts. So what is kisi adam only for hunting? Says the Gemara. If you don't really have to do anything, you go in Avazim, you just go to the park, you give them a piece of bread, and you grab them by the neck. Oh, you're mine. Maybe it's not hunting, you don't have to do. The Gemara doesn't bring any animals. I guess chaysa would be a lot harder to catch some chaya that's not seidah, like a deer. It would be almost impossible. Seid mikol makom. Asher yotzud, it doesn't stop here. It says asher yotzud, seid. Seid means any kind of grabbing. And here we start with some interesting agadat Rabbi Yisai. Derech Eretz. Lim the Torah derech Eretz. Shelo yochal adam basar elo b'hazmona hazois. You should not eat meat out of stam taiva for the fun. But when it's hard, it's like ki'ilu says Rashi, ki'ilu you're hunting. It should be hard for you. So you shouldn't eat too much meat. Rashi sticks in shaloyani, shouldn't make him poor. You see, the Gemara is very concerned about people's finances, and people should budget what they have. And the Gemara seems like people didn't know how to do it. Eitz Toivus, Taner Rabbanu, Ki Yarchav Hashem Elihecha Es Gvulcha, Lim the Torah Derech Eretz, Shelo Yochal Adam Basar Elo Teyavain. When you come in the midbar, you couldn't eat meat l'teyavan. It's only whatever you brought as a carbon, you were able to eat the leftover. But when you came into Eretz Yisrael, Ki Yarchav Hashem Es Gvulcha, then you could eat. In the Torah Derech Eretz Shelo Yochal Adam Basar Elo Teyavain. Only for Teyavain. Yochal Yikach Adam Min HaShuk V'Yochal. Maybe you should go and buy it. No, you should shecht your own stuff. I don't know how that applies today. Maybe you should shecht everything you have. Like Mendy said, maybe you should take everything out of the freezer. No. You have to leave one piece in the freezer. That's bizmanenu. Yeah, isn't that what you said? I heard afterwards the basement. You left, but it was flying. Your tire was flying. Mikan Amar Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, Mi sheyesh li mana yikach lefasei litro. Yorok. Says the Gemara, I don't know how much a mana is, but let's say a mana is what it costs to live a half a year. I don't know, $10,000. Yeah, people could live off $10,000 for half a year, maybe. So if you have $10,000, you're making $10,000 or $20,000. This is half a year. So if you're making $10,000 half a year, you should buy vegetables once a week. You should have vegetable soup once a week. Asara mana, if you're making $100,000, then litra dogim, then you could already buy fish. Chamisha mana, if you're making $500,000, zikach lefasei litra basar, then you could eat meat. Meya mana, if you're a millionaire, yishbesu like der b'chol yom, then you're allowed to eat meat every single day. And the other guys, it doesn't say what the shear is, how often. I stuck it in. Me'erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. Only vegetables, erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. Some don't like this pshat and Rashi. What a person that doesn't have money should starve the whole week. Should only eat vegetables, me'erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. So maybe it's only going on the meat. What? Bread, not vegetables. Vegetables is already like
That's current health advice.
Oh, you shouldn't eat carbs? You shouldn't eat a protein.
Only vegetables.
But if you're a millionaire, you could get sick and eat proteins.
Before the doctor.
It's a very interesting Gemara. How a person should pace himself. Don't overdo it. Omer B'Yochanan. By the way, remember, like last week, I was asking what Rav's name is, and we couldn't come up. Rav. So no, his name is Abba. Rav is Abba. Omer Rav Tzrichin on Zaken. We have to be concerned with Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah that if you only have a mana, you should only buy vegetables. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Abba, Rav, Mishpachas Briim Hava. He has no right to talk. He comes from a very healthy family. They were strong people. But us, if you have a couple bucks in your pocket, you should run and buy meat or whatever it is. You should buy food because otherwise we'll be even weaker and we won't be able to make money. We need sustenance to live and to make money. Omer Rav Nachman can go onu loivin v'oichlin. So Rav Nachman is even one madrega, one dar after Rabbi Yochanan. It's even less. Not only if you have money do you go out and buy food, but even if you don't have money, you borrow money to buy food. You need food to live. You can't be like Rav and just eat vegetables from Erev Shabbos to Erev Shabbos. Says in the pasuk, kvasim l'lvushecha. Says the Gemara, megeiz kvasim yem al bushecha. You should wear wool b'gadim u'mechir sada atudim. Now, until I learned this Gemara, there was a guy in Bnei Brak who's nifta already. I wanted to go to his caver and desecrate his caver. I was very upset at this guy. Until I learned this Gemara. This Gemara, I might have said this story, but because my grandmother used to tell us every week we heard the story, so I'll say it again. My grandfather was from Switzerland, and his father had some money. And he was nifter, but he had 10 boys. He's nifter, my grandfather got his Yerusha, but he lived in Bnei Brak. You remember this Maisa?
That makes sense.
Chickens, you want chickens?
Yeah, you remember the Maisa. Oh, Here's the Maisa. The Maisa comes here in this Gemara. So B'kitzur, for those who haven't heard the story, it's my grandfather went to the Chazon Ish. You remember the Maisa? You don't remember the Maisa? My grandfather went to the Chazon Ish and said, I got a Yerusha, what do I do with all this money? So the Chazon Ish said, oh, you live in Bnei Brak. Bnei Brak is starting to develop. Take the money, buy as much land as you can. One day you'll... So, okay, fine. So he goes and he tells his Chavrusa, my grandfather tells his Chavrusa, he had a Chavrusa every morning, 3 a.m. By the way, my grandfather was the one that wrote the tefillin for the Stifler and the Lubavitcher Rebbe, bought from him tefillin, that's what they say. He was a big tzaddik. He got up early in the morning, went to the mikvah all the time, da-da-da. Kitzer, he went to Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish said, buy land, real estate. He goes to his Chavrusa said, no! Chazon Ish is a big tzaddik. But when it comes to business, do not listen to his advice. I'll tell you what to do. This is what he told him to do. I think you should buy one of these. This is an egg incubator. If you buy an egg incubator, you can buy a lot of eggs, and you put it in the incubator. And after you put it in the incubator, you have a lot of chickens. And then you'll have a lot of chickens, you'll have a lot of eggs, and you have more eggs, more incubator. But you'll have a whole business of chickens. You'll be very wealthy. So my grandfather, unfortunately, listened to this guy. And he did not live in Bnei Brak then. He lived in Yerushalayim. And they bought this machine. Big giant incubator, and they lived on the border with Jordan and Yerushalayim. And my grandmother tells me that she bought this machine and she plugged it in one time and she got shocked. She went flying. She almost died. A whole ma'aseh b'kitzur, but she was busy with the eggs. And then one day a missile from Jordan came and hit the machine. Bye bye. A few missiles hit her house, but one of them hit the machine, and she had. So that's. So I was a little upset at this guy for a while until I learned this Gemara. It says in the Gemara, "Umechir sada atudim, la'olam yimkor adam sada." You should always sell your real estate. Vigach atudim. You should buy sheep. So it's a mefurish Gemara. The guy went by the Gemara. Oh, but you should always buy livestock. Who needs real estate? Yeah, it was in those days. Vayimkor adam atudim yigach sada. And never sell your sheep and buy a field. V'dei chalev izim. Says the Gemara, v'dei means dayer l'adam. It's enough that a person she's buying chalev gdiyim utloim shebitach beis. So all you need is a few eggs, a little milk, and you'll make a lot of money. I guess in those days that's all you needed. There was no back and forth. There was no business. It's like nobody had cash. You needed some milk, you needed some bread, and then that's it. You had a hut, you're good to go. Who needs real estate? Some like empty land. What are you going to do with it? So here's a very interesting thing for women. First, you should eat. Then you give your kids food. You don't go around like mamish. That's what women need to learn this Gemara. It's very important. No? Mothers. They feed everybody. They're going. They're almost dropping dead. They don't care. They have to feed. And then at the end of the day, they take care of themselves. No. Don't spoil your kids with wine and meat. You should teach them how to get along, says Rashi, with very little food. We know people that are very makbid in this halacha. A person that wants to be wealthy should deal with smaller animals like sheep. Omer Rav Chizdo, maybe it's, I don't know, Levi would say that this Gemara is talking about Klal Yisrael. You should be oisik with Yidden. What? With Hinashim Rabbi, you should open up a school, a Darkinom or something. It doesn't mean sheep. I mean, come on, who's going to become wealthy from sheep? Omer Rav Chizdo, Mai Dechsiv Ashros Tzoinecho, Shema Ashros is Balem. He brings a raya. If you have tzoin, it makes you wealthy. Omer Rabbi Yochanan.
It was also to have
New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand. Yes.
So it's also to have
Taisus is kasha. So Taisus is kasha. It's talking about B'Yishuv and because of Ayin Hara, but not in Yishuv, whatever. Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Kosa the Charshin, v'lei kosa the Paishrim. So this is also, I used to think this about, my grandmother always warned me, never put cold water into hot water because it's not boiled properly and there's bacteria. And here the guy says it straight out. You should not, a cup from a witch is better than a cup of Mayim Paishrim, of lukewarm water that wasn't boiled. Why? Is metal. But we don't care, in the kli cheres we don't have the bacteria. If you don't put like tea or something into it, some sort of spice, then it's a problem. But if you put a spice into the water, it'll kill the bacteria. By the way, the art scroll, I looked in there and he says, we're talking about bacteria. That's what he says.
What about coffee putting?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of, it doesn't say what. Tea. So if it's not boiled, it's a problem. But if it's completely boiled, it's not a problem. I'm not exaggerating. Up until last week, I was always scared because my grandmother used to scare me. Don't drink this warm. So I thought she was right. Then, like a week, I said, "What does she know? It's about Mamash above Maisa." So last week was the first time in like 40 years I put cold water into my coffee. Now I have to go back to it. I have to get used to it. I don't know if I should mention there was. Yeah, there's once I don't want to be masker avonis Rishonim. There's a movie in the 80s when I was a kid called Brewster's Million. The whole movie is the guy could yarshin millions of dollars if he knows how to get rid of $1 million in one day. So he's trying the whole movie to get rid of $1 million. How do you get rid of $1 million? He just had to read this Gemara. At the end, he took a stamp that was worth $1 million, and he sent it as mail or something. I don't know, like one of those $1 million stamps, the upside down plane. You know what I'm talking about?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert. No, הרסתי לו את הסרט. Ayin Sham, Brewster's Million, so it's a clean, good movie. If it's that guy, Levi, it's that guy that wants to see how to spend money, how do you do it? You bash clay pishtan, he should wear cotton clothing, and he should use a lot of glassware. You should hire a lot of workers and not be with them. What? Linen. Yeah. Baruch Hashem, I'm Mekayim all three of these. Yilbosh Kli Pishton, I have my guys in Chicago running around. I have no idea. Yilbosh Kli Pishton, B'kitana Remi Yisla. So it's not just stam Kli Pishton, it has to be certain linen from Rome. It's expensive and it wears out quickly. With white glass. I don't really have. In those days, the ox was the main thing. It was like the bulldozer. It was the truck. It was everything you could possibly have. So if you have these guys, you're not watching them. They'll ruin the ox. They'll go and they'll ruin your vineyard. They'll trample things. They'll break their legs. But kids, so you have to be with them. This guy, a good guy that gives a lot of tzedakah, he gives away his money. But his own stuff, he deals with justice. He's very makbid on. It reminds me of the story that they say about Mr. Wolfson. I had a lot of chizik from this. This man, Mr. Wolfson, was just nifter a few years ago, 2-3 years ago. Reb Zev Wolfson used to give over $150 million tzedakah a year, they said. But in America, and he used to what?
No, from America.
No, he used to give all over. I'm saying he lived in America. He asked me. A guy once saw him on a plane and coach. He only flew coach. He says, "You fly coach?" He goes, "What? There's something cheaper?" Because that was his. So the Maisa is a beautiful Maisa. This guy from Lakewood, they called him up that he had cancer. And they said, we need you, because he had a lot of pull with the government. We need you to speak to a certain doctor in Manhattan and get him in immediately, because the line is 2 months out, 3 months out. So he called him back. He said, I got you an appointment tomorrow, and I have a helicopter coming, picking you up from Lakewood, and it's going to bring you to Manhattan. You don't have to schlep, with all the treatments that you're going through. And he himself went to the hospital to meet them, but he took the subway, the underground subway. He wouldn't even take a taxi. So in other words, for himself, he was extremely cheap and whatever, but for the other guy, he got him a helicopter. So this is what?
He's shaving his own midas, because normally somebody who's have a rafkus with himself.
Well, it could be. It depends where it comes from. But anyways, toivish choinin umalva, a guy that's with other people, he gives out his money and he lends money. But for his own self, he's very exact and he's very makbid. Says the Gemara, a person should eat less than he's able to afford. But if when it comes to clothing, then he should spend what he has. And here's the interesting thing. So when it comes to his wife and children, he should spend even more than what he has. Some say that the pshat is what he saved on his food and he ate less. Not pshat that you should go and get into chayvas and you should borrow money for it. It means since you saved on the food, you should take that money that you saved on the food. You didn't eat shawarma that day, and with that you should buy your wife jewelry and things that.
Malbim,
What?
Malbim, the last week separate,
Yeah.
talks about the shivas of the big dekuna,
Right.
and why it comes maybe after the menorah. He says that the clothing that the person wears is na'akav as to who he is, what is, how he behaves.
Well, clothing is ma'akim. You see it here in the Gemara. If you could afford nice clothing, you should wear nice clothing. Okay.
That's the 12th edition where it's two begodim, only Israel wears one beged.
All right. Here comes. We're going back into Chullin here. Sorry. Darsh Ravena Pischa de Reish Gelusa. Hashoichet lechoyle b'Shabbos chayav l'chasos. Comes Ravena, and he says a big chiddush, and he says that if you're allowed to shecht an animal on Shabbos for a very sick person, then you're allowed to continue doing melach on Shabbos, even if it's a doraisa, even if it means digging up dirt and softening it up and covering the blood with it. Why? Because the kisi adam is part of the shechita, it's a continuation of the shechita, and if the Torah allowed me to be mechal Shabbos for the shechita, the Torah allows me to continue. Says the Gemara, Amalu Rabba, Eshtoime Kamar. I'm shocked by what you're telling me. It makes no sense. Either you should cut off his tongue, or at the very least, the Pshat and Rashi is that since he's an Amora and he has meaning, he has a microphone. If you were chashim in those days, you spoke very low, on a very low tone, and the guy behind you, the guy next to you would scream it out for everybody else. That was a show of chashivas. You got to get rid of his guy. You have to embarrass this person. He has no right to say such a silly thing. Why? The Sanyo Rabbi Yossi Omer, right? We had in the Mishnah, we had a whole sugya about it. You cannot shecht a koi who's a safek chaya on yontif. Why? Because of the kisi adam, the problem with kisi adam. So he says, Rabbi Yossi, I know this mikal v'chomer from Mila. Maybe I should just say it outside real quickly. It's a safek chaya, and you're not allowed to do kisi adam on yontiv b'safek because the kisi adam is a safek. So the Gemara says that if Mila, which is doicha Shabbos, right? If the baby is born on Shabbos, it's doicha Shabbos. Yet if the baby is a safek when it was born, if it was born ben hashmoshes, so I'll ask you a riddle. How is it possible a baby is born on a regular day, and he's healthy like an ox, he has no jaundice, nothing, he's a normal baby born regular, you do the bris 11 days after he's born. L'chatchila. You have to do the bris 11 days after he's born. And there's nothing wrong with the baby. The answer is, if he was born, let's say, on a Friday, and ben hashmoshes. So now we don't know if he was born on Shabbos or on Friday. So the next week, when it comes Shabbos, we can't give him a bris. Certainly we can't give him the bris on Friday because maybe it's only 7 days. On Shabbos we can't do because maybe it's the 9th day. So we have to wait to Sunday. But Sunday is Yontif. So you can't even do the bris on Sunday. So you have to wait till Monday. So here is a kid, he's getting a bris when really he was born on Shabbos, but the kids are, what's the point? The point is that if you have a suffix day, if you have a suffix day, he was born a week before Yontif, you can't give him a Milah Yontif. So Memela, so Kisa Adam, that you don't do, you can't do, and here Rabbi Yossi uses a lashon. You can't do Vaday Kisa Adam on Shabbos. So certainly you shouldn't be able to do a suffix on Yontif. But the point of the Gemara is that Rabbi Yossi said you cannot do Vaday Kisui on Shabbos. What does Vaday Kisui on Shabbos mean? How do you get to a situation where you have to do Kisui Adam on Shabbos? Obviously, it's our case where you shechted for a very sick person, and you need to do a vadei kisui, but you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. So how could you, Ravena, stand there in front of the Reish Galusa and scream out that you can do kisei adam on Shabbos? It says Mefurish and Rabbi Yossi, you cannot do kisei adam on Shabbos. Let's see it inside.
By Mila, we said that you can do tzitzna as long as you talk about Tomaisa.
Well, what?
On Mila,
Yeah.
we said that when you take Oisa Mati, you can cut off tzitzna.
Yeah. But not in a suffix. Not in a suffix. We're talking about a vade versus a suffix. If a suffix, we don't know what day the kid was born, then you don't perform the Mila at all. Forget about the tzitzin. You don't perform the Mila.
If he's doing shechting, he has to do kisui adam. It's part of the mitzvah. So just like the.
But does Rabbi Yossi say that you don't? Rabbi Yossi says you don't. You don't do vade kisei adam on Shabbos. You don't. That's what Rabbi Yossi says. What did he mean? He only could have meant one thing. He could have meant that if I shechted the animal for a sick person, I can't continue. Let's see it inside. If the baby, we know for a fact he was born in the middle of Shabbos, then the bris milah is the following Shabbos. However, if he's born bein hashmashos, so the following week is Yontif, you don't do his bris on Yontif, kisui. And here's the main part of the whole Gemara. She'ein vadoi doicha Shabbos kisui. If there's a certain case on Shabbos where you have to do kisui, you don't do kisui, and you did she'ein tzvega doicha Yontiv. So certainly by a koi, you shouldn't push off Yontiv. That's Rabbi Yossi's Kavachomer. Okay, so if we stop right over here, we have a pircha to Rabbeinu. You cannot do kisui on Shabbos for a vadei chayla. Amar loi. So now we're just going to go into the actual Kavachomer. Push it off. The shofar that we do not in the Beis Hamikdash will prove it. She'ein vada doicha Shabbos. You cannot blow shofar on Shabbos. Usveiko doicha Yontif. If you have a suffix, you could push off Yontif. What is a suffix? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to tell you what the Gemara says in 10 lines. If you have a suffix woman, you have a person in front of you, you don't know if it's a zachar or a keva. A tumtum. He's covered. You don't know where he is. You're allowed to blow the shofar for him on Yontif. Even though that you can't blow a shofar for a woman, but for a suffix man, you could. So if you could blow a shofar for a suffix, says the Gemara, oh, here I have a case that a suffix Yontif, you could blow shofar. So remember a suffix kisui hadam, you should be able to do on Yontif. It's different than a vade on Shabbos. The same guy, a shofar, you're not allowed to blow on Shabbos, but on Yontif you could on a suffix. Hey, Rabbi Elazar Kappa Beribi Tshuva. Now Rabbi Elazar Kappa Beribi says, Beribi means Adam Chashuv. He says another answer to the Gavachomer. A pircha, more than like the Gemara said before, even stronger. Mala mila shekin enu neges b'leila yom tovim. You don't do mila at night. Taima b'kisa adam, kisa shenoi b'leila yom tovim. Kisa you do at night. So the whole kavachomer is not a good kavachomer because you cannot compare kisui to mila. Now, and the Gemara says on this, Amar Rabba Zechel men advarim shomer Rebechia ein li aleim tshuva. He thought he had a bomb kavachomer. Ve'esher Rabbi Elazar Kappa Beribi. Rabbi Elazar Kappa, the great one, said an answer. Akapanim. Now the Gemara goes back to what we came from. Ktani mias, but it says kisu she'ein vadoi doicha Shabbos. My vadoi the kisu doicha Shabbos. What does it mean that a vadoi kisu? If you have a situation where you have to do kisu on Shabbos, you don't perform kisu. Lava sheichet lechoyle b'Shabbos. Obviously, it's talking about our case. Sheichet lechoyle b'Shabbos. You have the right to do the shechita, but don't have the right to do kisui. Says the Gemara, no. Who told you there's a sick person here? We're talking about a guy, Shegitz, that guy, who's shechted on Shabbos, and now he comes to the Rav, he's all tamim. I just shechted, do I have to do kisui? No, you don't do kisui. Says the Gemara, no. It can't be that case. Do me the mila. Ma mila b'rshus, af kisina b'rshus. It has to be talking about a situation where he did it b'rshus, he did a shechita b'rshus because there was a sick person. So at the end of the day, we have a good raya against Rabbeinu because Rabbi Yossi says in his Kavachomer, the vadai kisui adam, and it has to mean that there's a chayla, you don't do kisui. End the story, and the Gemara stays with that. Now the Gemara just goes back to what's the tchiyah of the Kavachomer. It says, what does it mean? You have a suffix on Tkiyah Shofar. Ilema suffix chol suffix yantav. You tell me the same suffix that we have by Bris Milah. We don't know what day it is. That can't be. Impossible. Actually, vada yontiv dachya on a day that's 100% yontiv, you're allowed to blow the shofar. Yontiv safek chol mibaya. So if you add a little bit of weekday to it, of course you could blow the shofar. What's the shayla b'chlal? Elo safek isha, safek isha. So you're talking about a tumtum, and we don't know if it's a ish. Afal pikein, you're allowed to do shofar. And Rabbi Yossi will tell you no. That I'm not talking about a Safek Isha, because even a woman who's Vada Isha, she's allowed to blow the shofar. The Sanya b'nei Yisrael Soimchim v'lo b'nei Yisrael Soimchayis. Rabbi Yosef Reb Shimon Oimrim Nashim Soimchayis Shos. Just like by Smicha, a woman can perform Smicha, so too a woman, you can blow a shofar for a woman Chatchila and Yantafer. So maybe if you have a Safek man, Safek Isha, of course you can blow a shofar. Taisus points out it doesn't mean that she literally does smicha. It means she just pretends, she puts her hands above. But al kapanim, that's what he holds. And memela, there's no raya for kisui, because kisui is a real suffix over here. The women could do kiyah shofar.
Can a man blow for
We'll stop right here.
Can a man blow for her? She can blow her own shofar.
Why not? If she could blow for herself, if she's mechuyev, she's so to speak mechuyev and shofar. You're saying because it's a rishus.